The 12-minute wall. The Ethereum scaling endgame is no longer about adding more layer 2s, but about collapsing the 12-minute latency wall that keeps them isolated. Espresso's Tiramisu and HotShot stack address this by decoupling the ordering of transactions from their execution, effectively turning fragmented chains into a single interoperable network. By moving sequencing to a neutral decentralized layer, rollups can achieve cross-chain finality in roughly 2 seconds. This shifts the technical bottleneck from the base layer's settlement speed to the network's consensus speed. The HotShot consensus mechanism is the engine driving this structural change. HotShot and the Latency War. HotShot replaces traditional leader-based sequencing with a leaderless, optimistic BFT model that scales to thousands of nodes without collapsing. Traditional consensus protocols often struggle with communication overhead as node counts grow, but HotShot uses optimistic responsiveness to confirm transactions as fast as the network allows. It functions as a high-frequency ledger, providing pre-confirmations to integrated partners like ApeChain and Celo. Because this ordering is confirmed by a decentralized set of validators, other chains can trust the sequence without waiting for the full Ethereum settlement. This mechanism effectively turns the sequencer from a single point of failure into a distributed security artifact. But ordering is only half the battle. The data itself must be available, which is where the Tiramisu layer enters. Tiramisu and the data bottleneck. Tiramisu is the data availability layer designed to handle the massive throughput generated by shared sequencing across dozens of rollups. It uses a tiered approach to ensure that transaction data is accessible to any node in the network, without forcing every participant to store every byte. By integrating data availability directly into the sequencing pipeline, Espresso minimizes the overhead that usually slows down modular stacks. As of mid-2026, the protocol has completed its transition to a fully operational proof-of-stake model, where the ESP token functions as the security bond. This setup is a massive economic experiment in decentralized coordination, where rollups trade some sovereignty over their ordering for massive wins in interoperability. This leads to a fundamental shift in how we view the Layer 2 ecosystem. The signal under the noise. The shared sequencing endgame is not actually about making individual chains faster. It is about the structural dissolution of the Layer 2 boundary. By combining the HotShot consensus and Tiramisu data layer, Espresso has built a common nervous system that allows isolated rollups to act as a single liquidity pool. The transition to a permissionless proof-of-stake model earlier this year represents a shift from experimental infrastructure to a production-grade primitive. For developers and analysts, the real metric of success is the integration rate of major rollups and the actual reduction in bridging latency. As Ethereum continues to consolidate around specific scaling stacks, the neutral coordination layer becomes the most critical piece of the architectural puzzle. The specific milestone to watch is the deployment of sub-second finality targets in the second half of 2026, which would effectively make cross-chain latency indistinguishable from local execution. Subscribe for more.